Tragedy is just a trial, a test. And I think with us, we want to test. When you're coaching, you want to test your players, and God want to test his soldiers. So my trials, my tribulation was God testing me to get me prepared for the war that I'm in now. Even the officers getting knocked out, dudes getting stabbed, getting their head bust with the locks, cats being raped, people walking out of their mind. They always say the visitation walk back to your dorm is a trail of tears. Cause man, you get back in that dorm, you lay down that bunk, you just be like, F up.
We're here for the introduction of In and Out. It's a movement to change the world. It represents all things and all of us at all times. It's about freeing ourselves of any prison. Welcome to In and Out Podcast, where I have dope conversations with formerly incarcerated people. I am Eric Gerald, and today my guest is Dr. Barber, and he's going to take us along his incredible journey of overcoming the longest odds to reaching great success. What's happening? What's happening, my brother? How you doing?
Doing amazing.
All right.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Hey, I appreciate you coming. I know you're doing a lot of things. I know you're busy. You got a field schedule with all the stuff that you're doing, and I appreciate you for taking the time to come here and chop it up with me. I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, tell us about some of the things you got going on, and we'll get into our conversation.
I am the Goodwill Ambassador of Georgia, Dr. Travis Emory Barber Sr., Lifetime Achievement recipient, honorary doctorate degree, Impact Brand Ambassador. I have too many to name, but at the end of the day, I'm a present father.
No doubt, no doubt. That's impressive. And listen, I do know that the hats you wear is long and extensive. I know you are a published author. You got the book Behind the Trapp. I know that you have this incredible organization, One More Question. I know that you work with children in all capacities. You was legendary in the street, but that person that was legendary, Trapp Snoop, he's been laid to rest. I already know that he is dead, but I want you to really specifically get into some of the things that you're doing with One More Question, and tell us a little bit about that. And my first question to you would be like, where did that name come from, One More Question, and how did it get started? What was the genesis of it?
Going to prison and meeting so many guys that hadn't lived a life that I had lived, that had been incarcerated since they was 15, 14, and never really been outside. It was like every day, everybody had one more question about a story, about life, about the streets, about family, about fathering, about sports, about college. And so on the flip side, I come home and a lot of my people never been to prison. And everybody had one more question about prison, the riots, my case, the just everything that goes on in there. And when I was with Miss Tashana, who did all my first everything, started my first Facebook, Instagram, she said, "What you gonna name it?" I said, "I guess I'm gonna name it One More Question." Everybody got one. And when you ask the right question, it'll change your life for the good and for the bad.
Wow, that's dope. I left one thing out, so I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up that you also have released a very successful documentary, which was on Tubi a couple of years ago. You executive produced it. I actually watched it myself. It was dope. Behind the Trapp, also the same name as the book. So y'all make sure y'all go out there if you haven't seen it, check it out, get the book, and definitely watch the movie. How long did you work on the movie?
The documentary, it took us about 3 weeks getting everybody lined up, getting their schedules together. It took about 3 weeks.
Okay, I was highly impressed by it. Did you have any background in film, or I guess you executive producer, so you were able to actually go out and get somebody that did all of the directing and everything for that?
No, it was all me. I'm a visionary. You know, what comes to me in a dream, I bring it to life. And so I directed pretty much everything. And the major shout out to my director.
Who was the director? What was the director's name?
Mr. Herschel.
Mr. Herschel.
Yes, amazing. Okay. Amazing.
Okay, I gotta look him up. Has he done a lot of documentaries or movies before?
I was the first documentary. His thing was the videos, and we met through a mutual friend. I told him what I wanted. He said he can do it, and we did it, and we got that thing up on Amazon and on Tubi.
Okay. Well, it was really dope. It took me through some emotional swings. As you know, I was incarcerated at one time also, and just seeing the many different aspects that you covered was highly impressive. One of them that I wanted to address was I know one of the brothers that was talking on the documentary. He said that you could look at some things as a tragedy. Some people look at a tragedy the wrong way. But how do you look at tragedy?
Tragedy is just a trial, a test, and I think with us, we want to test when you're coaching, you want to test your players. When you're in a relationship, you want to test your significant other, and God want to test his soldiers. So my trials, my tribulation was God testing me to get me prepared for the war that I'm in now.
Okay, that's dope. Now you also, I think it was you, or maybe it was somebody on there that you quoted Pastor Troy, vice versa.
That was me.
That was you, right? That's what I thought. Yeah, and so tell me about that a little bit, because I think you said I think what he said in that, what you was referring to was the evil was good and the good was evil.
Yeah, at the time, I can pretty much see the wickedness as well as the angels. But for me and my family, we're praying to what we thought was the angels. Please let me go, exonerate me, free me. The evidence shows that my gun isn't the one that shot him. And fast forward 12 years, 13 years later, I realized that the angels were the ones that was sending me to prison, convicting me so I can go be isolated and be convicted. And from that conviction came the restoration and the redemption of my soul, because I broke through this flesh and that reputation of Trapp, and God was able to speak directly to me to show me my path, my purpose.
Okay, that's dope. Would you say that the restoration and the things that you're doing, the things that you're doing now is part of that restoration?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this person Trapp that you used to be, what was your life? What was your life like growing up?
Single parent household. Well, it was a single parent household, but my mother raised me, my grandmother, my grandfather, and I had my 3 uncles and 2 aunties who was all in a duplex that had cut the back wall out and turned into a house. It was 9 of us.
9 of y'all? Brothers and sisters or?
Aunties, uncle. Yeah, so just grew up. It had a great family love and support community. We were just poor, but we didn't know it. And for me, when I got into sports, I think that's what clicked, where I can take my anger and my slick depression. And I started becoming shameful. My mom's car, our neighborhood, our house, because I'm seeing my other partners from the different communities, neighborhood, they got it all. Right. And so I took it out on the field. And I just wiped their nose every chance I got.
When you say on the field, you played?
Football.
You played football?
Football, wrestling, ran track.
Okay, where were you at? What part of Georgia?
Creekside, Fairmont, Georgia.
Okay.
I got a scholarship, Georgia Southern football, for a route outside linebacker. And I got to college, not to get ahead of you, but it was a whole nother world, man, because wasn't no social media, so all the women I seen was in Fairmont. I get to Georgia Southern, they coming from Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Cali, and it was like being at the ice cream store, man.
Wow. And you was a football star.
Absolutely. Without even getting on the field.
How long did you play at Georgia Southern?
I stayed 1 year.
Okay.
I wasn't going to class.
You was having too much fun.
I was having too much fun.
You had your pick of the litter. All right. So what were you so angry about, Trapp? Did you grow up in a poverty? I mean, I know you said it was 9 people in a 2-bedroom, so.
My anger was that my mom was at work, my grandmother's running the bootleg, know where my granddaddy was on the weekend, and my daddy wasn't there.
That's what I was gonna ask you about. Where was your dad? I mean.
And he was somewhere in Noonan.
Okay. Do you have a relationship with your dad?
Nah, I met him like 3 times.
Wow.
I think the 3rd time was at his funeral.
So he's not here anymore?
No, sir.
Okay. Was that before or after incarceration?
That was after incarceration. When I got he passed in, I think 2018, 19.
Okay. How much time did you do?
I did 10 in and I did 10 on paper.
What year did you get incarcerated?
2002.
2002, and you came home in
2012.
2012. Okay, yeah. I came home in 2011, so we was coming home around similar times.
Scared as hell. Hey, didn't nobody know, but I was scared as hell.
When you was going in?
Both. Coming out and going in.
Okay. Had you been arrested or like before you went to prison? Because we're gonna get into the real story, but I know it must have been in the high because it was a violent crime.
Yeah, so. I had like 2 little arrests prior to that, but I went in there about an hour.
Okay, so that ain't the same.
Yeah,
you
nothing.
Didn't spend the night.
Yeah, nothing. I ain't spent no night. You facing the murder charge, somebody life sentence.
Right.
I was on the run for like 2 or 3 weeks, about 3 weeks.
So now I did Fed time, but I guess it just depends on where you're at, but how was that doing state time? It was crazy in there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think doing any time away from your family, the things you love and your freedom is just like, man, for real.
Right. No, I agree with that 100%. Any time away from your family is way too long, and it's a nightmare because, people are dependent on you and us. But what I mean, like a little more like, you could be at a place that is not really super violent. How was the place that you was at as far as violence? People, all the things that you see in the movies, Oz and all that.
Yeah, it was my first 4 or 5 years was straight high max.
High max?
Yeah.
What part of Georgia was that?
South Georgia.
Okay, what was the name of the prison?
Frank Scott,
Frank
Hayes,
Scott.
Washington, Men's Unit, Jackson, Jefferson, Sumter, LaGrange. I hit 10 of them, man.
You hit 10 institutions. Did that help break your time up more?
It did. When I got on that fire department, I got certified as a firefighter too when I was in. When I got in the fire program at Jefferson County Camp, that really put me on a whole nother level of feeling valued and valuable again. Gotcha. Going out there saving lives, going to them fires and to them car wrecks.
Right. Yeah, I could imagine. They have different programs like that. They should have more of them because I know they have programs that, like you say, make you feel valuable again because their whole thing is to kind of dehumanize you and break you down. And, it can mess with your confidence and, people look at you different when you come home. But, we'll get into when you came home also. But let me ask you this. So when you got to that high institution, like, what are some of the things that happened in there that if somebody was watching this that ain't never been to prison before, that think that it's, they think that's the thing to be, the rappers, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say rappers glorify going to prison.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
You said it for me. So I was watching Wallow have an interview with Shannon, and what he said is if they don't glorify it, they definitely giving you a directory on how to get there. So for people listening, like, not the movie shit, not Oz, not that type of stuff, but what really goes down in them supermax prisons and state prison? Is people getting shanked? Did you see people getting stabbed? The violence, rape?
Yeah, absolutely. All of it. Even the officers getting knocked out about a tray. Dudes getting stabbed, getting their head bust with the locks. Cats being raped. And also people walking out of their mind. Right. Like one day you talking to your buddy and next thing you know, he's sitting on the yard just stuck. Right. Yeah, it was a hell of a emotional roller coaster, man, like living in a nightmare.
Living in a nightmare. Ain't no doubt. I know in one piece of the behind the trap in the documentary, you talked about going into the shower with your slides on and with your boxers on. You saying when you got out?
It took me a while to kind of get reacclimated. Right. But some things I still don't like crowds. I still don't like people bumping into me and touching me. In prison, you got your space. Like you ain't touching nobody, but you dapping up your partners. And ain't none of all that that's going on in society. Right. That's why I don't really do clubs and everything. So I don't want all that touching and bumping because my mind ain't there.
Yeah, ain't no question about it. That space is really the only thing you got. You might have a little locker, your little bed, and you're gonna protect that space. You're gonna die for that space if you have to.
You got to, and like I think that's the part that dehumanizes us, the lack of human affection.
Right.
Because everybody, you got it. You are who you are now.
Right. Ain't no question. I know you was also talking about visitation. What was that effect on you? Like, did you look forward to visitation? Did you like it or didn't you? Because I know some dudes got visitation every week. Some dudes got them maybe every month, every 3 months. And some of that was by choice because it's such an emotional roller coaster going on that visitation. What was your experience?
It was bittersweet, see my boys running down the aisle, to run, tip, and jump in my arms and hug my old lady and kiss Mom Dukes on the forehead, grab little sis' hand, but when they leave, man, they always say the visitation walk back to your dorm is a trail of tears. Cause man, you get back in that dorm, you lay down that bunk, you just be like, I effed up.
Especially when you're in the beginning. And you get that first visitation and you're like, holy shit, how much more time I got to do with this?
I went 12 months on High Max, Jackson, about 3 to 4 months, 18 months without a touch, without a hug, without a kiss. Man, it make you ruthless.
Right. Yeah, they definitely try and break you down. It's a psychological game, being incarcerated and locked away from your family, and then there's psychological warfare within that, just taking you away. That aspect of it is bad enough, but then like you say, not having the ability to be able to touch, not really be able to openly show emotion, because you got to be on warrior time in there. So, what about, I don't know, maybe contraband or on visitation? I know you talked about it, so I want you to touch on that. You ended up in the hole. What was that all about?
Oh, that was about me trying to get my rocks off. For real. One of the officers that worked the main desk, one of my little partners, I got up on him, got in his head. He ready to do whatever. Put me in the back. Hey, my girl come in. Hey, you just turn the other way. You go stand at the vending machine. So he come in. I go to my seat. Hey, we get in position. Hey, we get ready to go down. He gets called to go do something else. The LT at the desk. I don't know what's going on up there.
You think your partner got your back?
Yeah. He might have been set up. But they ended up pushing up on the table. Hey, man, get up, Barber. Hey, she got to go. And took me to the hole, man.
And then they punish you. How long they keep you in the hole?
I think about 3 months.
Didn't the warden pull up on you or something and ask you something? What'd you tell him?
Yeah, like, Barber, you getting ahead in my visitation? I'm like, man, I don't like boys. So every chance I get, man, it is what it is.
You were hoping he would respect it as a man, but we know it ain't going down like that. So he kept you in there for 3 months. How was that, having that isolation, being in the hole? It's, talk to what that's like, because that could be psychological warfare also.
I think that really what just developed that instinct of survival, like being inside a prison, and all your communication is through that little flap. And I learned so much from behind that door about myself that I didn't learn in the county jail on High Max. But this isolation was totally different for some reason. I guess the darkness of it, like a cave or something. But at that time, that's when I really realized, like, this is my home, man. I got 18, 19 more years to go.
So this was within the first year?
Yeah, this was my first camp. Yeah, my first camp. I couldn't wait. It been all this time too. I'm trying, hey man, for real. Right. So whatever it take, whatever come with it. But it ended up getting the back of my visitation when I got out. He left me on restriction for like 3-4 months after that. Then he finally put it back on my visitation list. But once I went to the hole for that, and it's the whole camp is like a small community. Everybody gossiping. That's the dude that was getting hit in visitation. That Trapp right there. So from there, all the officers, I'm their hero, and it just made me more impactful to be able to get everything I need in now. Wow. So everybody rocking with me now. Okay. For real. Man, okay. Every camp I go to, they already. Oh, but you, yeah, that me home, and it is what it is.
That's crazy how things happen. And then I know you talk. What about getting contraband in or getting money? And didn't you came up with a real slick way to be able to get actual cash? Explain that, because people probably don't know. You don't have cash. You don't have cash in prison. You got different types of cash, but you were one of the dudes that actually had cash in there.
Every camp I went to, I had an officer for the simple fact, like Troy, Pastor Troy, C-Bone, Carmo, my partner still, everybody in the street doing their thing, having their way. So, hey, you want to go to the city, have a good time? I can get you in the club, VIP, kick it with Troy, kick it with whoever. And when I sent them up to the city, it's a wrap.
That's what's up. So you said that you kind of really learned about yourself when you was in the hole. And I had a similar experience. But did you do a lot of reading? Did you get more spiritual?
Yeah, I read my first book in prison. Well, in the county jail, I never read a book. I was in college. I wasn't reading nothing, man. But the plays. So, like I read my first book in the county jail. That's why I wrote my book in prison. Yes, sir. I read the whole library. That was I'm on high max. I got 3 hours out. 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, 1 hour at night. Shower, little red call, phone, and you back up, just like a dog. So I can't do nothing but read. Yeah.
It's like they got us in the dog kennel. Yeah. Listen, I'll say this. Listen, prison is negative. Absolutely. And I would never say that somebody should go to prison to get the lesson. However, when you go through adversity, I learned, and it sounds like you got a similar, you went through some of that similar growth process. When you gotta go through that type of adversity and you just with yourself and you don't have nothing else, that's when all of the other stuff starts getting stripped away. So, tell me about that growth process, because I know you probably, most of us, I got a friend, Dr. Cynthia Williams, shout out to her, but I got a friend and she believes that all black people have been traumatized in some way or another.
Yeah, respect, Cynthia, that's my buddy. I received her award too, Love from Afar award as well. A man finds out what he is when he has nothing. A woman is the opposite. When they have everything, they find out who they are. But as a man,
wow, whoa, hold on, say that again.
When a woman has everything,
that's when they find out.
Yes, sir.
Why do you say that? I haven't heard it put like that before.
Because see, when they got everything now, the temptations and the invitations, what they say no to. Some women got it and they still ain't finna go nowhere and twerk it and flaunt it and show it. And the ones that ain't got it, they're gonna do anything off the muscle. But when they got it, that's where their real character comes out. You're gonna get exactly who she is. And with a man with nothing, I don't want no cocaine, big dog. Right. I'm gonna keep working my job. Right. Hey, no, I don't care nothing about me. I got 20 years. I ain't messing with no boys, dog. Right. For real. But like when we had that money, we just a reputation. We just really doing what we see the next cat that got. He got a section, I'm get a section. He got bottles, I get a bottle. Right. Hey, they in the strip club, I'm in the strip club. Right. But when you ain't got nothing, hey man, come ride with me. Right. I'm straight. So for us, it's like what we say no to.
I like that. I'm gonna keep that one with me. I also, and to add to that, I find that when we're in the free world and we have money and things, that's what we hide behind. We hide behind cars, the floss, money and things, but you ain't really getting that real person. When you be incarcerated, that's how you get to find out who a joker really is.
Absolutely, for real. And he was your big dog when he was on the street, but now he throwing doo-doo out the flap, right, pissing on himself, cutting his wrist. That's right. Hey, man. But he was the big dog on the street, though.
That's right. You're right. I've seen that happen a lot, especially when they're, like you said, they don't have to go to the hole. So, you see it happen in the hole because they're not mentally strong enough. You're right. They shitting, they throwing shit out. They doing nasty shit. It's crazy. They losing their mind. They screaming. They crying. I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with crying, but I'm just saying some people break when they're in there. And I seen another time I seen people break is when they get that call, when they either call home and they, hey baby, and somebody takes the phone and like, yo, she ain't your wife no more.
Hey, okay.
Don't call here no more. That I didn't see niggas lose their mind. Stop eating for three weeks, a month. I done seen it.
I
Tell
almost
me
lost
about-
mine.
Right. Me too.
Hey,
but not to that extent.
Yeah, no, not to that extent. Nah. Hey, Dad, Mama got company. Got company. What?
Right. What type? Who are you talking about? Is it so and so?
Hey, for real. I'll never forget. What about my big OG, Oscar Nolan? I would go in the room looking sad. Hey, man, like, what's up with you? Man, my girl got company, boy. My son just told me my girl got company. And they're like, what? Man, you don't get your ass out of my room and wipe them damn tears? That woman got a life to live, and you do too. Now, close my damn door. I said, oh. Hey, and with them your tears still stick to me this day. And people say I'm heartless because they try to play on my emotion with their tears, but it's like anybody over the age 30, 35, any age really, you're responsible for you, your happiness, your peace. So when I say what I don't want or what I do want, it is what it is in certain situations. But tears don't move me. Right. Principles.
That's right. Tears is just another emotion, like laughter or anger. We all have them.
It ain't gonna change nothing about the world. That okay, we would have been had our equal rights. If tears would move the pen, for real. How you got out of prison? Right. With that pen. That's right. Cry on that paper, man.
That's right. Words. Yeah. And words on paper. Absolutely. And the language. And when you know that language is powerful, that's what it's all about. You're right. That means a lot. The spoken word has power in it, and so we have to yield that power, in a just manner, in a righteous manner.
So you said the language to move the politicians to change the policies and the laws, the governors, and it's the same thing in the spiritual realm, spiritual form with God. He has a language, he has a decorum, he has a posture. And when you know those, he gonna move every time.
Yeah, that's no joke. Yeah, the spoken word. You could speak when, like, in essence, there still has to be work and action behind it. Like when people say, well, you can speak it into existence, but you really can. I mean, if you follow through with the rest of it, So the words are powerful. Like when they say words can't hurt me, bullshit. You know how they say sticks and stones may break my bones? No, but words can hurt. Now, if it's coming from someone that you probably don't care about or respect, then of course you have to be mature enough to be able to say, what you say is not going to influence me, about how I feel about myself or it's going to change my principle. But if it's coming from someone that really matters to you, those words can either build you up or tear you down. And that's very important. You said something else. You said at our age, 35 and above, and really even younger, but I'm with you. We're responsible for us. We're responsible for our own actions. But how long did you know that, Trapp? Did you, was you feeling that way at, what was your mindset at 20, 21, 22, 23, 24?
I was in prison, and I think I was about my third year, I realized I was not guilty of the murder, but I was guilty of the things that took place to lead up to it. And I had to accept accountability for the decisions that I made to get back out the car, to have my pistol, to even engage in the altercation, in the fight. And that alone put blood on my hands. I think if I would have stayed in the car and let them beat my little buddies them up and take their stuff, they would have kicked their ass and put them in the car and let them leave.
Listen, I haven't taken a life before. I haven't been through that, But I want to ask you. I want to just take you a little bit because, how did it happen? What led up to that incident?
Us in the club. We was in character in the club called The Mansion, and country town. Not saying everybody poor or broke, but we had the most money that night in the club, and we was doing the most with our money, with buying the Moet bottles and just making sure everybody seen and knew what we had, even when we pulled up the cars we was in. And anytime you go in an impoverished neighborhood where don't nobody know you, you go incite a riot because you're an easy lick. Don't nobody know you. Who cares what happened to you? And our actions in the club allowed them, made them follow us to the Crystals, to where they all go after they leave the club. And when we got there, we kind of parked in separate places, and that's when they had the opportunity to jump down on 3 of my buddies when they got out of the car. And from there, all hell broke loose.
So when you say all hell broke loose, what happened?
That's when they start jumping on them, start trying to snatch their
They
necks.
was jumping you was jumping your buddy.
Yes.
So you weren't you didn't initiate it.
No,
You would say jealousy. Would you say jealousy, like them being jealous of you because y'all was flashing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Y'all was them boys.
Absolutely.
So that played a major role in it.
Definitely. All their girls were in our little section and everything. So, yeah, absolutely. They were feeling some type of way.
Okay.
And I can't say that me and my buddies would have did the same thing. They been in our city. Don't nobody know come in our hood. And we would did the same thing.
You took that as a form of disrespect?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Once I got older to look at it.
Right.
But before, that's what we did. We're going to go somewhere and show out.
Right.
But now it's like, I asked for it.
Right.
I excited that.
Right.
That I can't control the consequences.
Right. So ego played a role in that too. You guys with the ego, and then their crew with their ego.
Every time.
And how long did it take for you to? So you say you was about in your 3rd year of prison before you really started thinking about that incident and kind of really understanding from a very, very mature level the role that you played in it?
About the 3rd year when I repented on that, because to the death of me, I was innocent. I ain't do nothing. I'm innocent. I was shot twice before I even discharged my weapon. I'm innocent. And then one day I had that conviction, that revelation. Hey man, you were the ringleader.
You were the ringleader because your crew is I'm gathering this. Stop me if I'm wrong, but everything flowed around you and your crew. Yeah. So the way Trapp goes is the way. That's the way it's going. That's the motion that's going to happen. Whatever motion you decide. Yeah, that's a very mature way of looking at it. And obviously you had to go through a lot to get there. So if you were shot twice before you let off a single shot, and the individual, ended up losing his life, where were you shot? What happened to you?
I got shot in the chest with a 380, and I got shot in the foot with a 22, and he got shot in the back with the 22.
And he happened to die, and you happened to live. Do you think about that sometime? Why did he die, and why did you live?
Yes.
And have you talked to God about it?
I did, but it was his will. One my time. I had more work to do.
Right.
For him.
That you carrying out now.
Yes.
So if he let off twice first, what happened when you went to trial? I'm assuming you did you go to trial?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Now I want to say a little something about that. And I don't mean to cut you off, but so in my notes, I know there was something that you talked about in the part that was labeled LFA. You said there's no gray areas, and it was about truth. So obviously your reputation precedes itself. I believe that there's 2 types of niggas when it comes to criminal activity: trial niggas and plea niggas. Yeah. Now, that's not for me to judge anyone, because depending upon the situation, one could feel that the right thing to do is to take a plea, depending upon what they're facing. I don't know. I never really think it's right to tell on anybody, but I'm not here to pass judgment and talk about that. But I happen to be a trial nigga myself, and I know you went to trial. What was that experience of going to trial? Tell me about it, because there was some things that stood out. Like, I'll give you an instance. I'll give you an example, and I want you to expound on it. You said at some point in that trial, you felt like the trial was rigged. You already knew at some point, you said you already knew you was going to prison. Tell me about that.
My buddy, Meaty, he was right there with me the whole time. And when he came to court to testify, the DA was like, he's lying. We got video of them going into the club and leaving the club, and they didn't see him nowhere on the video.
70 hours worth of video, right?
Yeah, they say he was lying, and his testimony was thrown out. And this man was with me. This man held my chest, keep me from bleeding out on the way to the hospital, and they didn't see him. At that point, I knew then I'm going to prison.
Okay, so that was and that takes me back to that was part of the Pastor Troy song, Vice Versa. Because at that time it was actually you were supposed to be the bad guy, right? The criminal justice system or the judicial system is supposed to be the good guy. But they really was lying or rigging the case or throwing out testimony that in fact was actually true.
The dude that shot me, allegedly, they made him my co-defendant.
That's right. They made him your co-defendant, and obviously y'all had beef. They were ops.
We ain't had no beef. We just had an issue about us coming to the club. I didn't know better. Yeah. They say I came down a week before. We've been had problems. We've been had beef. I don't know these folks.
Right. Oh, this was law enforcement saying.
Yeah, they painted their own picture.
That's right. Because by them making you co-defendant, it's easier for them to get you convicted. Because if it's just a spur of the moment thing, it should be self-defense.
So when they found out the ballistics had to be entered into evidence, well, Mr. Barber had a 50 cal. He got shot with a 22. Well, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna charge Mr. Barber with murder with transferred intent. Those bullets were intended for him, but they hit the other guy. So they tried to make me responsible.
But he actually died. That's why you said that. I didn't pick that up, but I remember you saying you had a 50 cal, but he died from a 22.
Exactly, and I got shot with a 22 in the foot.
And what did they call that charge?
Murder with transferred intent.
Murder with transferred intent. Wow. They can do what they need to do, or they can do what they want to do, can't they?
You saw the YSL trial?
I did.
They did what they wanted to do, didn't they?
They did what they wanted to do. Yeah. Wow. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I learned something now. That's crazy. What year did you come home?
2012. February 6th.
Oh, so you came home right before your birthday.
Yes, sir.
That was, what was that like?
Oh, man.
Did you get out, you got on a parole?
I got out through the transition center, Clayton County. Yeah, so I came through the transition. I was already getting a little fresh air. I was leaving out for detail the morning that they called. My mom had picked me up on this particular morning, and as soon as we leave, they called on her phone like 5 minutes later. I'm like, don't answer that. She's like, I got to answer it. Man, don't answer the phone. I ain't going back. So I got to answer the phone. My mom, she answered the phone. Can you bring Travis Barber back when he's been released? Man, we like turned that little call for real. Hey, I'll never forget that morning. Definitely. February the 6th. Absolutely. Didn't know it was coming. For real.
How did you get home? Did somebody pick you up?
No, I was already headed to my I was working with my buddy off of Cleveland. He had a gym. He was doing we were putting together the barbershop. So I'm coming out every day really to go do a little work. Then we go hang out at the strip club. Right. So, you know, but that you're a free man. Hey, man, they ain't nothing like it. Nothing like it. And that's when the parole began. The pop-ups, the pitch test. Yeah, all that. Come on with it. Better than sitting in that cell.
Who did you see first when you got home?
Oh, I was already coming out of home on passes. Right. So I was engaged at that time. And my children, I ain't really had nobody to rock with. My buddy J Baby, God bless the dead. Freddie, pretty much the whole city. I was building the barbershop. So everybody was stopping by when they heard I was at Halfway House. So yeah. But you still had the barbershop? I had that barbershop 2 years, ended up closing it.
Okay. Yeah. That's what's up. Is your mother still alive now?
Yes.
Okay, and she was alive at the time, right? Yeah. How did she feel? How was that feeling? Because we know our mother's gonna hurt more than anyone else.
I thought she started crying so she hung on the phone. They said, bring him back, we're finna release him. Wow. Yeah, for real. So it's been a beautiful journey.
She came to see you every weekend?
No, she didn't come here weekend. My girl came here weekend. Okay. So but mom would come she would come monthly though, or my little sister. But yeah, we made her do what it do, man.
Yeah, mom was always gonna do that. So Dr. Barber, you come home. When did Trapp get killed?
Totally, probably like 2021. Okay. 2021. Cause when I came home, I was still trying to dib and dab with the weed, but every time I get my nose wiped by close partners, and it was like my plug was like, hey, man, you're gonna be all the way in, you're gonna be out, cause you're gonna have to handle your business, man. I said, I'm gonna have to go on and get out. For real.
Oh, okay. So you was just really just tired because you giving people stuff, you trying to jug and dude just running off.
Yeah.
And you like, man, it's Trapp.
Yeah, like.
What part of the game is this?
For real.
He didn't want to have to do something to him. So he was like,
that one time, and I'm like, all right, cool. I ain't looked back since.
That's what's up, and that was in 2021.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, 2021. And even to this day, I still get phone calls. Not as much as before, but they still try to test me. I don't want none of that drug money, man. I don't want no parts of it.
They still say Trapp.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, man. Like, come on,
like,
man.
Who's Trapp? Like, it's Dr. Barber. Why you keep calling me Trapp?
That part. For real.
So, we all have, well, there's 3 questions. So I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, and we talked about the fact that there's 3 ways that you can look at people. You can look up at them, because, you might look up to somebody, you might respect them. You can look across from them. You look at each other as equals, or you can look down on them. Who were some of the people that you looked up to before prison and after?
Damn, before prison.
That made, like, influence you, and that could be street
my
dudes.
my uncles, yeah, they was all street dudes. My uncles, my neighborhood buddies, all the big dogs, Toe Man, Batman, Al Frank, Rello, Man, Meated, Bump. Our whole community was just some masculine hustlers that didn't take no shit.
Right.
All of them will bust your head, pull a bad chick, put the 30s and Vols on their car, and put the 6x9 across the deck, and be fresh as hell with the 8-ball and the J's, with the jewelry, the rings. Everybody had their own charisma style, and I just love that,
Right.
For real. And as great as I was on that football field, I didn't see that until I dropped out of college.
Right.
But it was so familiar that I was easily maneuvering in the dope game when I came back home and just started jugging, meeting different cats with the work. My partners in the hood, they ain't going nowhere. Whatever they need, I go get it, bring it back, take me a couple grams off for it, and put me 125 on it. And I'm cool. I'm finna go spend all mine on polo.
Right. Right. You the first dude who's wearing polo, right?
Hey,
That's what they
man,
said.
they can do it, yeah, for real, Randy Rock. Hey, they went from there. My buddy from college, like, hey, man, look, my partner got some work, man. What you want to do? I don't want to do whatever. Come on through.
Right.
They came through. We went there. They flew in from Cali. We went to Daytona for spring break. Talked to his partner. He said, man, I got you. They left out. A month later, hey, man, we at the airport. Lope, where you at? They call you Lope.
Right.
Met the crib. They came through. Everybody had a brick on them. And it's over with now, but they had them lug shoes gutted out. Everybody had a half a brick in there.
Right.
Looked like baby pie. Brought me 6 of them. It was off to the races from there.
Okay. Well, the reason why I asked that question is because, in our communities and in every community, really, they say if you show me a person's friends, or if you show me who's in their circle, or you show me who are the people that, that influence them, you can be able to tell so much about that person's life, how they're gonna end up and what they're into. So many of us, like you said, everybody in your neighborhood everybody was warriors, everybody was trapping, everybody was getting money. So it's kind of predictable, the lifestyle that you would have got caught up into. Those are the people that you looked up to, those were the influences. But now, you made a 180. So now there's people that was probably your age that's looking up to you, because now you are one of the positive influences. So tell me about that, like the impact that you're making on others. You're changing lives. Tell me a little bit about how.
I think the how is that I don't even know I'm making impacts on them. I think that what keeps me going, because I be reminded oftentimes, but I'm so deep in the game that I don't see the rewards of people making these changes and sacrifices because of what I did, knowing where I come from. And I think that what keeps me humble too, to not realizing just how big of a deal I am. Every now and then, you know, I might throw my weight around, but it's gonna be a professional rhyme and reason for it when they try to look at my record and say that I'm a convicted felon. And that's when I run my resume down. I'm the Goodwill Ambassador of Georgia. You know, that Joe Biden recognizes my work. I'm in 13 schools with a leadership program. I go into courts and advocate for the youth that's on these trials and different cases, and they come home with me. So, you know, those are the times when I throw my weight around. Most of the time, I'm just trying to be a shadow or a fly on the wall, just going in knowing the things that I bring with me, but still not boasting and bragging like I was when I was in the streets.
What are some of the things that you tell the youth when you speak to them? I know, I imagine you speak to at-risk youth, and maybe you go into prisons and jails, high risk, at risk, and things like that. What are some of the things you tell them, and what's the reaction that they have to you? Because some of these cats, like if they don't, like you know how it is. I mean, it's probably legendary in your neighborhood, you know, at that time. But once time passes by, some of these youngsters they don't know who Trapp was, or they may not. What are some of the things that you tell them that can reach them? And how do you see their reaction?
For the black boys, man, once I tell them I've been to prison, I've been shot. I used to be the dope dealer, dog fighter. Now they can see me as normal, or cool, or approachable, or that I understand what they're going through. And from once I gain that interest, that's when I tell them it's time to start dreaming. And it's time to start recognizing your dreams. Because like now, they dream on social media what the next real gonna be. They ain't dreaming about what their future gonna be or what they're gonna become, because everything that I'm doing now, I dreamed about it. And I already seen it in prison. I just didn't know how it was gonna manifest. I didn't think it was possible. Right. But being on a billboard, being on Amazon, being on TV, you know, just being a doctor, like for real, and a felon, but still impactful, still influential, and respected by law enforcement down to the street corner homeless, because I'm feeding everybody one way or another.
Right. What are you a doctor in?
Honorary doctorate degree. Philanthropy.
Philanthropy, okay. That's dope. Giving of yourself and giving back. That's a beautiful thing. You said something that struck with me. You said, you know, you teach them how to be able to dream. And I think, so I believe that it's the exposure. You know, I had a conversation with somebody before, and it's my take that you can only dream so much when you haven't been exposed. Like your dreams a lot of times can only go as far as your exposure. So for me, the impact that you're making on them, you are their exposure now. You're part of their exposure, because they being exposed to somebody that came from where they came from, so to speak. Similar situations. Might have did some of the things that they either dream about doing or fantasize, or seen some dudes in their hood doing, or hear the rappers rapping about. You did it like you're him for real to them and to so many people, because you did it and you survived and you made it out. And now you're doing so many impressive things. I believe that really, you know, would make a hell of an impact on people. So Stephen Sadow, one of the top attorneys in Georgia, defense attorney, he said to me when I was talking to him, this was before I went to trial, or maybe this was after I went to trial. I was asking him about juries. I think it was before I went to trial. I said, do you believe that I or anybody could actually win a case, a black man, a drug case in Charleston, West Virginia, with its 2.7% black people? And he said, Eric, he said, anybody can be spoken to. You just have to know how to speak their language. And so that's what I'm getting at. You know how to speak their language. So that's why you reaching so many people. And you know, I applaud you for that. What is the thing that you're doing at Grady? Because I know a little something about the school that you got set up. This is highly, highly impressive stuff here. This is not small time stuff here that we're talking about.
I'm on the Heidi board at Grady with the health, equity, diversity, and inclusion.
Health, equity, diversity, and inclusion. The Heidi board. Okay, dope. I like it.
I'm on that board, and what I do is take them to the red zones where crime is up, life expectancy rate is down, food disparities, and everything is high volume in the negative.
Do y'all ride with police or?
No. We don't ride with the police. What they do is look for places to put the hubs at, look for places to get their flyers out and information to come get a checkup for free. Come get some resources for free. Come get job training and some employment opportunities. And I give them a true picture of what's really going on, and I take them there. We do the prostate exams at one of my events called Sunday, and upon that, Grady is looking for help for employees because the other hospital closed. And I was like, I'm at the high schools with the vocational. Let's build out a program that's needed with the nursing program that's in the vocational school. So they met with the principal. We came up with phlebotomy, train the kids to learn phlebotomy, do the program with Grady, and after they get certified, graduate, they can come go to work full time, get employed. And this is going on year 2 now. I think they already got 3 kids working over there. So now they're trying to put my name on the program in honor of.
How long have you been doing this with this program with Grady?
I've been with Grady. This is the second year with that. I've been on the board for I think 2 years now, 2 or 3 years.
Okay. And how many like youth are you dealing with normally? Is this all boys?
No, this co-ed here. This with the vocational school, the program, the nursing program. So I think they got a good 50 kids in the program this year.
Okay, that's impressive. That's no joke. I salute you for that, brother. So when I want to ask you about, like, when you're talking to the high risk youth, the boys, are you talking to them in like an audience? Do you ever get to spend like one-on-one time with you, or do you get to like ask them questions? Do they ask you questions?
Yeah, definitely. With the high risk, most of these guys are already been involved in a crime and got current cases. And once a man has felt the power of pulling that trigger, he's no longer a kid. Right. That's in a whole different type of adrenaline and a false confidence through you. So it's gonna be a lot harder to reach them type of kids, them type of young men, and don't allow them to be violent and getting a check. Is damn near 0% reachable.
They got to go through something.
Yes, but my thing is the consistency with them guys, and to be their advisor when they need, because they mind made up. Like when I was selling drugs, fighting dogs, man, get out of my face, John.
I got more money than you. How you gonna tell me?
There
something?
You go.
I make more money than you in a month than you make in a year.
There you go. and so with them, when they run into a little small emergencies like getting their kid legitimized, writing a letter to their PO, needing community service hours, being harassed, that's when they come into my arms then. And it's like, hey man, you know what it's gonna lead to.
Right, now you got the attention at least.
Yes. So my thing with those boys is they ain't gonna say didn't nobody care about them. Didn't nobody try to show them love, didn't nobody try to show them the right way.
Right. And I imagine even sometimes like you might not reach them then, but like when they do get into a situation where they got to sit down for a while, where they have to go through that tribulation, that trial and that tribulation, some of the people that they met, some of the things that you might have told them, they're still in their head. And that's when it starts coming back up.
So imagine the conversation me and you would have had 20 years ago. There wouldn't have been nothing about society.
Ain't no question.
Club.
We already know.
Fashion.
How much you getting them things in for?
Women.
Let's make money together.
Hey,
get money.
That part.
All of it, right?
The maturity, man.
Right.
Time is of the essence.
No doubt about it. So I learned from a mentor of mine from afar. I got to meet him, but he had kind of been mentoring me from afar because I used to watch his motivational speeches. Les Brown. And like we said, we got a lot of different things. We say time is of the essence, time is money, but he says time is life. And when I thought about it, that hit a different way because I think that's the best definition of time that I ever heard. Time is actually life. And that's why it's the most valuable thing in the world. And so myself, I'm guilty of this. I'm gonna ask you, before I went to prison, that is what I took for granted more than anything else. My time, how I spent it, and who I spent it with. When I went to prison and you had that time taken away, have your freedom taken away, everybody doesn't necessarily mature the same way, but I was able to mature in that level that I would no longer take time for granted and how I spend it with people, the people that I care about, and people that's gonna add value to my life. What was your I guess, you know, how would you say that your experience with losing that time?
Time is so important now. I keep a calendar on me. I keep a calendar on me, and it's like, now I tell people, you gotta go book a time, book your session with me, because picking up that phone and having a 15, 20, 30-minute conversation with everybody I know is gonna be unproductive for me, for the things that I have to do that's important, that's already on my calendar. And a lot of people don't understand it or respect it, and those ones I probably talk to the least. But me realizing how valuable time is and the things that come across my desk, I have no leisure time during the times that I'm supposed to be working. Because I ain't punching no clock, but I don't clock out. That's the difference between me and them. I don't clock out. So time is, gonna respect my time.
That's right. I love it. All right. Well, there's a couple more things I want to ask you about. You know, when you came home or while you was in there, you know, maybe we all did suffer some form of trauma. Everybody's trauma is different. But, you know, what are some of the things that you did or that maybe you would encourage other people to do in dealing with, like, shame or guilt or depression and things like that? Because I believe those things can make you sick and they can overwhelm your life, especially because a lot of times in our community, we believe, and I don't know if you've done this or not, but a lot of times we either think, if the resources are there, we think that ain't cool to seek help about depression. It's not cool to get therapy. It's not cool to go to counseling. So a lot of us in our communities, and probably in all communities, we might go through a damn near death spiral in dealing with things that we don't know how to get out of it. And it affects our behavior, it affects our livelihood, it affects everything. Have you ever had to deal with depression, disappointment, shame coming home, extreme guilt, and how did you deal with it?
Man, I was about to blow my brains out when I found out I had a warrant for my arrest for murder. Like, I literally had the gun in my head, in my garage, in my cell. Yeah. So
you had a gun in your head?
Yes.
In your garage?
Yes. Family upstairs.
What were you thinking?
It's over with. I can't do no damn prison time. I ain't going to prison.
Okay, because they closing in. You know, you might not only go to prison. This ain't like, yo, I got caught with an 8-ball. I'm facing maybe a 5-year mandatory minimum. This is I might be facing life without. It's that type of.
Absolutely.
So, and what happened? What stopped you?
Mondu call.
At that very moment? Wow.
We're going to get through this, baby. I want you to do nothing crazy. For real. Hey, man, so I know firsthand, like, what it feels like. And I didn't go to counseling until I was, 42. When I got out, I said I need to go to counseling. And that's when all the daddy issues came out. Talk about the anger, talk about the insecurities. And that's when I became more masculine than ever, when I became vulnerable.
Wow. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. That's good. That's real good. A lot of people need to hear that. And you said something else. You said some of the anger that you was dealing with and the daddy issues. So do you feel as a young man, as a young boy, growing into teenage years and stuff like that, even though you said you had a grandparent around, your mother was around, you knew they loved you, but what did it feel like? Do you feel like you had anger looking back, an extreme amount of anger because your father wasn't in your life?
Yeah, but it was disguised in athleticism. just how I get on the football field, I'm already crying for the game start. I just wanted to go do some damage so bad. And I'm knowing like after the game, it's just gonna be my people and everybody else's family hugging me, you know? And it's like, damn, I wonder what that would feel like having my dad at the game. And so when I get home, I had to use a fake name, but I coached my son Little League football team and wrestling. And, you know, I couldn't go on the field trips with him because I was a felon, but I did away with that too. Now I'm taking everybody's children on field trips during school days. I'm Dr. Barber now. I'm one more question, not a felony. So now I'm entrusted with the whole city, with every school district. I couldn't chaperone mine, but God, maybe I can chaperone others.
Wow, that's a blessing. You've been blessed, and you've been a blessing to so many others. And with that, you know, I think that's a real good way to end it. You know, that was beautiful. I really enjoyed talking to you. I want to give you an opportunity to tell people where they can find you. You know, plug your book, Behind the Trap, plug the movie, give them the social media. But before I leave, before I turn it over to you, I also want to say something, and I appreciate you because I consider you a lion. And I consider you a lion, and I consider myself a lion, and there's lions like us out there. So I especially want to give a special thanks to our man, Sean Gooch, because that's a solid brother. And one of the things he said, and I'm letting him know, like, if you say something to me, dog, I'm taking it. I'm telling you. But I'm going to let you know, and I'm going to give you credit for it when I say it. So when other people are hearing it, they know where it came from. I didn't originate it. I don't know if he originated it, but I heard it from him. And that's why, and this is the first time I'm saying it. But he said it was really, really important for him to put people like you and me together, for people like me and him to help each other out, for other people that we're going to be having these conversations with in order to make an impact on others. And what he said is, if the surviving lions don't tell the tale, then the hunters will get all the credit. So, Lion.
Absolutely. Respect.
Yes, 100 for helping us tell the tale. Because we can't let the hunters get all the credit.
Absolutely not.
And with that, I want you to, you know, make sure you talk to anybody that's listening out there, all the listeners, anybody that's listening now, anybody that's going to hear it in the future. And, you know, plug yourself, talk about what you're doing, what you're going to be doing, and tell them where they can find you.
I'm also the brand ambassador for Impact. And what we're doing, we're building a community where we own the land and the housing. So when people come home from prison, they have a safe place, a space to go to without red tape. And here's where they're going to get the counseling, the training, and the opportunity to develop as a new returning citizen to be productive back in society as well as in your own household. And we're also putting together a etiquette dinner for 50 young boys to learn proper decorum and table etiquette. And Behind the Trap is on Tubi, Amazon Prime, and Amazon Books. My clothing line and apparel is on onemorequestioninc.org. You can also make your donation and do the bookings. Instagram is One More Question, and Behind the Trap with 2 P's. Facebook, Dr. Barber, where you can find me. And no matter what you're going through, just know that it's somebody praying for your problems. I love y'all. We all we got.
That's what's up. All right. Y'all already know what it is. In and Out Podcast, and you already know we're going to bring you the realest conversations with the realest people all the time, 24/7. You might be checking us out on YouTube, Instagram, all different forms of social media, but nothing here is fabricated. It's all real. If the surviving lions don't tell the tale, then the hunters will get all the credit. And we're gonna always make sure the hunters don't get the credit by continuing to bring you people like my brother and my friend, Dr. Barber. The man is an entrepreneur. He's a philanthropist. He's helping make an impact on others. There's no greater blessing that he can do. He's pleasing to God and doing God's work. The man has also got a clothing line. He's got a movie. Make sure you check it out on Tubi, on Amazon, Behind the Trap. He's an author, and he continues to build. He continues to grow. He's been where many of you have been. He's seen what a lot of you have seen, and he's trying to help you. He's trying to show you the vision. He's trying to open up your eyes by exposing you to what he is doing now. It doesn't matter where you've been. It only matters where you're going. So never believe because you made a mistake. Never believe because you might be down right now that there's no more chapters to be written in your book. The book is not finished. There's more chapters to be written. So continue to be inspired and know that we care about you here on In and Out. He cares about you. There's many people that care about you and love you. We appreciate you for tuning in. We want you to keep checking us out. You know what it is. INNOUTWW. That's In and Out worldwide. Find us on all forms of social media. And make sure you do one thing. Make sure you do two things, three things. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and follow back. Tell a friend. Appreciate you for checking us out. And now I'm out. This is Eric Geralt, In and Out Podcast. Peace.